Path of Exile 2's campaign will not be similar to its predecessors. In fact, I'd argue one of the largest differences not talked about too often is the revamped campaign structure, and goals come Path of Exile 2. Path of Exile 1's campaign is quite static, with a few dynamic choices occurring from one playthrough to the next, regardless of the league. PoE2 looks to buck that trend and introduce varying experiences within one campaign playthrough to the next, different league and not. Path of Exile 1's campaign contains a set of larger, important bosses, a very small portion of intermediate bosses, and an absolute smacking of inconsequential bosses. PoE2 establishes an entirely different dichotomy with a slew of well-designed bosses for every single area, beginning right when your exile washes up on the riverbank. Instead of waiting until the endgame to spice up boss fights like in PoE 1, there appears to already be a huge amount of compelling bosses, and in the campaign alone, there will be at least 100. We have not even seen any act bosses yet. Path of Exile 1 allows most league mechanics to simply spawn in your maps, with a small subset of leagues with real quests required to unlock them. Judging by a few words from the developers about Delirium, other league restructures, and what we've seen with the Viridian Wildwood and Affliction, there might be more and more in-depth methods to start up integrated leagues in PoE 2. Path of Exile 1 pits you against a vast array of traps, skeletons, and necromancers to allow access to the Labyrinth, Emperor Azaro, and Ascension. While some people enjoy the lab, others don't mind it, and a few absolutely hate it, PoE 2 will remove the Labyrinth as the method to ascend. Instead, us exiles will grab our ascendancies through unique quests. Lastly, of course, Path of Exile 1's campaign is 10 acts with a sizable amount of clever asset reuse. PoE 2 seeks to deliver 6 highly varied and unique acts of content on the road to its sprawling endgame systems. Undoubtedly, we're going to have an in-depth, novel campaign in just 5 months. Yes, my fellow exile, June 7th, 2024 is when the closed beta begins, and it's when we get to experience all of this ourselves on our own computers. Now, without further ado, let's get to the astonishing Path of Exile 2 campaign breakdown. Back at ExileCon 2019, Grinding Gear Games revealed the new, at the time 7-act, campaign would be unique on each playthrough. Alongside new league mechanics and old ones reappearing at different intervals and therefore changing up the gameplay, they would also be utilizing their patented terrific random area generation at a world level. Rolling both together would turn PoE 2's campaign into a somewhat unpredictable one, once again evolving the ARPG genre. The example they used was that of the Act 1 town, the river you wash up on the shores of as an exile and its surrounding areas. Randomly generated upon your character's creation is the layout of the world map. The river might run through the center of the encampment, or to its north or east or west, and all area and quest locations would shift based on where the river flows. While this may seem like a minute change at first, many small shifts can build up to form a drastically different experience. That's what this looks to accomplish. On PoE 2's launch, you might take one path through the acts. It's likely to be completely non-optimal, of course. Your second run through on your second character or in the next league, you might understand what the currently understood optimal path is, but it would change based on the randomly generated world maps. Then for the next character, it's another new path, and so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on this? Personally, even as someone who only makes a character or two per league, I'm quite excited for this, even more so than ever before. While each character already feels unique in PoE 1, and you mold your endgame based on its strengths, weaknesses, and your goal for the league, now the path to endgame shall also share that sentiment. That's awesome. Hopefully this also somewhat addresses some people's desires to not have such a repetitive experience each league, which is a common complaint even now in PoE 1. While I'm skeptical of that, as many of these players seek to play something akin to Endless Delve, wherein they're just slaying monsters for a set of hours, hopefully it differentiates the campaign enough for those who just don't want to repeat themselves over and over. There's a bunch going on with bosses in the Path of Exile 2 campaign. First up, every single area in PoE 2 will have an actual boss monster in it, not a reskinned rare mob with a few extra abilities like in PoE 1. Many of the PoE 2 regular area bosses actually seem like full-on PoE 1 act or pinnacle bosses. It's great to see for those who enjoy mechanically and narratively in-depth boss fights. Not only will these fights actually be challenging with real battle scenes as the set pieces, but our characters will speak with the bosses or comment on them, and the bosses will actually interact with us. The best example thus far has been the Orsia boss fight in the Mercenary Reveal. The fight begins as she emerges from a ruined home with a pair of scissors and a bolt of lightning catching the tree on fire. Then, when she comes at the mercenary with the scissors, the mercenary pipes up as he tries to avoid the blades.
Be still, the mother! No.
Next, she has a varied moveset, from using the scissors in the intended way to transforming them into scimitars and belching forth an unwanted creature from her tummy. Absolutely wild. I'd expect most, if not all, the PoE2 boss fights in the campaign to meet this level of quality. Then, there's the extra mechanical or player power aspect to these boss battles. While some boss battles will gate progress through the campaign, like the not yet even glimpsed act bosses, others who are optional will yield boosts to character power, much like the bandit choice in PoE 1. One boss might give plus 10 to Spirit, another might grant plus 5% increased attack speed, and another might increase your maximum life by 55. While these can be done in the campaign just like the optional extra passive skill point quests in PoE 1, Jonathan Rogers also enjoyed a suggestion on the PoE2 subreddit about allowing characters to earn these abilities by beating the map versions of each campaign boss at endgame. This would eliminate the need to always tackle every boss on the way to maps in PoE 2. This method of boss design is a lesson GGG has learned from Path of Exile 1. Many players enjoy PoE's bosses and would love to encounter and be challenged and rewarded for more of them. Thusly, instead of slapping a Nova attack on a random snake and calling it a day, they're paying special care to each larger-than-life boss monster in PoE 2. As a boss enjoyer myself, this is one of the most anticipated features on my end. Hitting myself against each of these bosses is sure to be entertaining on my first playthrough of PoE 2, which will likely be streamed. Are you on the same page? How hyped are you for PoE 2 boss design? Remember, of the 20 or so bosses we've seen of the 100 plus in the campaign, none are the tremendous act bosses. While those might not be the hardest in the game, you know their design will be top tier. Right before we move to the next chunk of the campaign breakdown, I would like to ask, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. I'm consciously ramping up videos like this, working on improving the quality, and am aiming to be the PoE 2 content creator as we near its June 7th, 2024 closed beta launch. Thank you for the consideration and for watching this video. Now, let's get back to it. Presently, only a tiny set of leagues in PoE 1 require quests to somewhat unlock them, namely the core master leagues: Bestiary, Delve, Betrayal, and Incursion. In PoE 2, I posit many of the returning and even upcoming leagues might have deeper quests surrounding them. For example, we know PoE 2's version of Delirium will be unlocked in PoE 2 via a quest in Act 4. If we look to Affliction's league mechanic, I think that's a harbinger of future PoE 2 leagues, multi-dimensional with various quests attached to their full unlocks. In Affliction, you must complete each Asmiri Wanderer's quest to fully unlock each Wildwood Ascendancy, the primary reward from the Affliction mechanic. If Delve, Incursion, Bestiary, and Betrayal are in PoE 2, and I think the former three are, they'll likely have an improved structure compared to PoE 1, as will all previous leagues. I like this. This gives GGG the opportunity to fully teach players about deeper or more complex mechanics, once again implementing fixes to mistakes they learned about in PoE 1. A better Delve tutorial? Yes please. Something outlining what Delirium might do and how it can be wielded to layer difficulty onto your areas? Awesome. I can only hope the same will be done for our next topic. But on leagues and their implementation before we move on, what do you prefer? Leagues with quests and a bit more depth attached, or extremely simple ones that spawn randomly in maps during the acts? In Path of Exile 2, Ascendancy classes are not obtained by completing trap trials and downing Izaro and the Labyrinth. Instead, characters must complete at least 4 special and unique quests in Acts 2, 3, and 4, then another during the endgame. Each quest will be distinct from the last and grant the character 2 Ascendancy points. While a short point, this is a substantial shift from PoE 1's design. A vocal part of the player base greatly disliked the Labyrinth, and disassociating one of the best features in PoE from it is likely a good idea. On top of this, implementing a suite of dissimilar quests to unlock each set of points opens up new opportunities for change. Could each of the 12 classes have a unique quest to unlock their ascendancies, or are the quests similar between all character classes? Will the quests change between leagues, further building on the living, randomized world of PoE 2? Does this leave room for the Labyrinth to return in an undisclosed new suite of content for PoE 2? It's all up in the air, but alongside Jonathan Rogers saying they might even showcase ascendancy classes on the character select screen, bringing further transparency about PoE 2's in-depth character customization systems, I'm all in for their design choices on ascendancies for PoE 2 thus far. Are you? Finally, we know Path of Exile 2's campaign will contain 6 fully fleshed out acts leading into its endgame, which involves maps. Each act will be distinct and the story will be full. It's unlikely they will expand the campaign like they did for many years in PoE 1. Back in 2019, they said they thought the PoE 2 campaign would be a bit shorter than the PoE 1 campaign when people learned to play it. However, upon an initial playthrough, they expected to take players upwards of 50 hours to break through Act 1 and all the way to Act 6. While the first 4 acts are generally known about, the final 2 remain shrouded in a cloak of mystery. Act 1 will be in Agam, an island in the Isles of Scoth, a gothic dark forest act. Act 2 shall be in the Vastiri Desert. It's a desert act. Act 3 will be in Agarat, near the Utsal outskirts, essentially a jungle act. And Act 4 will be in Nyamakanui, or more accurately, a bunch of islands in and around Nyamakanui, making it an island-hopping act with tons to explore. Seemingly, GGG is taking a bit of inspiration from their beloved predecessor of PoE 1, Diablo 2, for the first 3 acts of their sequel. Each act will conclude with an act boss as usual, but we've not seen a glimpse of any of them. GGG has done a great job not unveiling all the secrets dispersed among many pieces of the campaign, especially what the other 75 or so bosses could be and who the ultimate antagonist might be. We only have 5 months to wait until we experience it all. Anyways, that's all for this video. Tala Moana, Exile.